In this tutorial, we're going to take a look at how to use autofill and create custom autofill list. So if you remember from a prior tutorial, we created this spreadsheet. This is the one we've been working with throughout the class, and we're going to continue working with this. When we very first began entering data in this spreadsheet, we actually typed in the months by hand. We typed in January, February, March, and April. But Excel does come preloaded with what's called autofill list, meaning that Microsoft has loaded some lists that are frequently used inside of Excel. And you can access those lists, which are text lists, just by typing in one of the words that are part of that list and then using the autofill option. So I would like to demonstrate what I mean when I say that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've just clicked inside of cell A9 and I'm going to type in the word January, and then I'm going to press enter. Now I've got some of my formatting there because we had formatted those earlier, so I'm just going to remove that formatting, and I'm going to do that by just clicking on cell A8, clicking my format painter, and then clicking on cell A9, which basically removes the formatting, or it actually applied the formatting that I had on cell A8, which was no formatting. So at this point, when I click on cell A9 and it contains the word January, if you notice in the lower right hand corner of this particular cell, when I've clicked on it, we have a little small tiny square box, and it's a little tiny small black box. And if I hover over that little small black box, I'll know when I have it correct because my mouse pointer will go from its current shape to a small black cross. So once my mouse pointer has changed shape, I can left click and hold in my left mouse button and drag down. And you can see the tooltips, and it's, as you can see, it's showing me the names of months. So just by dragging down, Excel has filled in the remaining month names, and that's called autofill. Basically, we're using a list that Microsoft loaded into Excel for common items that are used in spreadsheets so that you don't always have to type every single one of those. It also works, I wouldn't have necessarily had to start that out with January. I could type in March and then do the same thing. Hover over the little small black box, left click and hold and drag down, and it will fill the rest of the remaining months in, beginning with March and going forward. So notice that I did drag past December, and when you do that, it will just continue. It just starts over and it'll just continue adding them, going over and over again. Now if it's a little hard for you to grab that black box in the beginning, don't worry, it can take a little bit of getting used to. The more you practice with it, the easier it will become to use this feature. We can also use the abbreviations of months, so I can type in JAN, which is the abbreviation for January, and I can use my mouse pointer to hover over this small black box that's in the lower right hand corner, and again I know when I've got it correct because my mouse pointer will change shapes and it will become this small black cross. I'm going to hold in my left mouse button and drag down, and notice now that it will fill in the abbreviated versions for each of the months. Now this is just a list that Excel has, that Microsoft has loaded into Excel. And you can use these predefined lists, that's no problem, but sometimes we come across a situation where we find ourselves typing the same thing over and over again. Maybe we format spreadsheets commonly or frequently with name, address, city, state, zip, phone, and you just don't want to type that in every single time. You could make a custom autofill list for that. Maybe you have a group of salesmen and you are frequently inserting their names into a spreadsheet. Maybe you have 40 or 50 of those and you don't want to type those in every time. You could use a custom list for that. So at this time I would like to show you how to create your own custom autofill list. So to do that, we would look at our ribbon, and in the upper left hand corner we have our green file tab. So I'm going to left click on that one time, and when I do that, I'm now looking at what's called my backstage view. Now I would like to click on the file that's called options, and it sits right above the exit So I'm going to left click that one time, and when I do, I get the Excel options menu open, and we're looking at that now. And you may remember this menu earlier when we were taking a look at how to customize our auto recovery options. So now we're going to click on this option that is advanced. And when we do that, we are now looking at the advanced options for working with Excel. And we have a lot of different options in here, but at this point I would like to take the scroll bar and drag all the way to the bottom. And when I do, I will see this button. And this says Edit Custom List. And we're going to left click on that one time. Now if you notice, this custom list box is going to show you all of the lists that Microsoft has added into Excel that are preloaded. So we basically have the names of the months and we have the names of the weeks. But if we wanted to create our own custom autofill list, notice that I have this option here highlighted that says New List, and it's blue. And we want to make sure that we don't have one of the other ones highlighted. These are just predefined lists because you won't be able to use any of the buttons over here. So we want to make sure that we click on New List, and then notice that I have a cursor in this box under List Entries. And I'm just going to type some items that I want in my list, and you want to separate each item with a comma. So I'm just going to type name, and notice that I'm not pressing enter. Address, city, state, and zip code. And I think I'll add one more, which is phone number. And we can add email as well, so email address. You can add as many as you want. Just make sure that you separate each entry with a comma. And then I'm going to click add. Notice now that it stacked these, and the list is now part of the custom list on the left hand side. And then I'm going to click OK. And just click OK again. So now if I type in the word name and press enter, and I grab it again, you want to look at the cell, and in the lower right hand corner you'll have this black box. Hover over that with your mouse until the pointer becomes the black cross. Left click and hold and drag down, and notice that now it fills in those pieces of data. And that's how you would create a custom list. And you can have anything at all in your list. You can have colors, names, anything you want. Now Excel can also use numerical data. It can count for you. Now the main difference in using autofill for counting and for text data is that for text data, Excel is actually going out and looking at those lists that you've created and matching a word, and as long as that word is contained in that list, it will begin entering the values beginning with the word that you have in the list going forward. Numerical data is actually not a custom list, but it works very similar. Numerical data is how we can make Excel count in patterns. So maybe you have a project where you would like to have it count by 3s or 2s, or have it increment by 21. Excel can do that for you, and you wouldn't have to think about that yourself. So for example, if I wanted it to count by 3s, I could say 3, 6, 9, and I just wanted this to continue on for quite a while. If I just click on the 3 like we did with the text and look at this little black box, this won't work, but here's what would happen. If I hover over my black box until I get my black cross, my mouse pointer changes, and I left click and hold and drag down, notice at this point it's just repeating the value. And that's because the number 3 is not part of any type of autofill list. We're actually using a different feature of Excel, and that's its ability to manipulate patterns or to increment patterns. So I'm going to press my undo key. So whenever we're going to have Excel count for us or continue patterns, we need to select 2 pieces of data if it's numerical data. So I'm going to click on cell I2 where the number 3 is. I've left clicked on this cell and I'm holding in my left mouse button, and I'm just going to drag down over to the cell beneath that, which is I3. And notice now that I have 3 and 6 selected. I do still have this small black box in the right hand corner. So I'm just going to hover over that until my mouse pointer becomes the black cross. Once it's that black cross, I'm going to press my left mouse button and hold that in, and then I'm just going to drag down. And notice that when I did that, it counts by 3s for me. And that's the way you would need to do that for numerical data. So numerical data, remember, you have to give it 2 pieces of information so that it can see what the next value is in the pattern, and then it will just keep going forward. So if I wanted to increase by, we'll say maybe we have this number as a 1 and then we have this number as 20, and I just wanted to keep that pattern going. So I've selected the number 1 and the number 20, so both of those cells are selected. I'm going to grab that box and drag down, and notice now that it's increasing by that pattern. So that's how Excel can count. So this is increasing each number by 19. So this is just basically Excel's way of extending a pattern. So it's counting for you. You can also do this by counting by 2s. Any piece of numerical data that you wanted to do, as long as you can give it 2 pieces so that it can see the pattern, it will count for you and extend that pattern on. So that's how we would work with numerical data. Again, these text data is these items are part of a list. So that's how Excel can identify those, because it's just looking for a word or a phrase in that list. So let's review how to create our custom list again. So I'm going to click on my File tab. I'm going to go down to Options. I'm then going to click on Advanced. I'm going to grab my scroll bar and go all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to click on the button that says Edit Custom List. Once I have New List selected, I'm going to click Add. And then I can just type in the items in my list. So this time I'll make them colors. So I can say yellow, red, and green. And again, just make sure that you separate each value in your list with a comma. Once you've typed in the whole list, click on Add. Now you might be wondering, well, if I've already created a list, how do I modify them? How do I take something out of there? Or how do I add something to that list? Well, the lists that Microsoft has added cannot be modified. So notice when I'm clicking on these particular lists, everything is grayed out, so I can't modify any of those. However, if I click on one of the lists that I've created, these options are available, so I can add them. So I'm going to modify the one that I created for colors. So maybe I don't want the word blue in there anymore. So what I can do is I can click on the list that I would like to modify, and then I can just click inside of the box and list entries, and I can delete or add. So if I want to take the take blue out, I can just highlight that and press delete and click add, and notice now that it updated it. So that's how you would modify a list. You can also completely delete a list just by highlighting the list and clicking delete. And it's going to tell you that it will be permanently deleted, so you can click OK. And then when you're finished, just click OK. And that's how we would create custom lists. So remember, if we would like Excel to count in patterns, we would do that in the same way that we use our autofill list, by selecting 2 pieces of information and dragging down. If you would like to use text data, you only need to give it 1 piece of information, just 1 word that's part of the list, and it will begin adding the rest of the list in. So please join me for the next tutorial. Thank you.